Hi, welcome to another episode of Unscripted with your host Mikey and
And Danny,
yay. Yeah, what a crazy whirlwind of events we have witnessed lately.
for
Um,
sure, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Specifically, I wanted to talk a little bit about the FAA and my experience coming back from Las Vegas. Which with my family, which was a little bit insane.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I don't know. Have you been flying in and out lately? Have you experienced?
Not recently, fortunately.
Oh.
I've been located comfortably at home,
Mhm.
just going to the office, so nothing major.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know that in the news there's a lot of talk of the challenges of, the federal labor system,
Mhm.
and particular TSA and the challenges of all of that, the related
Yeah.
stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, what happened? I'm curious.
Okay, so basically, we were scheduled to depart, I guess, like, on the same day at like 9 p.m. Our flight was scheduled, like for the evening. We thought we had some extra leeway to kind of enjoy ourselves and relax at the hotel. And at that point in time, it was like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
And what happened was we got a message saying that our flight was potentially going to be delayed by 3 hours, if not canceled. So it would have been delayed from I guess, Las Vegas to Boston, from 9 p.m. to midnight, if not later than that, if at all. So
Mhm.
it was 11 a.m. My mom gets a text saying that the flight is going to be delayed. Would you like to rebook to the 2 p.m. flight? So we decided to rebook to the 2 p.m. flight, which originally was supposed to depart at 9 in the morning, and it had been delayed
Mhm.
until 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mhm.
So yeah, at that point, we were still expecting to eat breakfast, to get food, and it was kind of crazy. We had a rental car that my dad rented from, I guess, Ace, like the rental car service. And we were like,
Mhm.
oh my God, like we have to check out of the hotel. We have to return the rental car. We have to take like three different shuttle buses just to get back to the airport.
Mhm.
And we don't know if we're gonna do it in time. My grandma was also on a wheelchair, so we had to like check in,
Oh my
and
goodness.
we had like luggage to check as well. So yeah, basically we were like, okay, well, let's do it. Let's rebook the flight. And we yeah, checked out of the hotel. And it took a surprisingly long amount of time because my dad wanted to use whatever credits he had at the hotel left to buy snacks, which was a very efficient use of time. As dads do. And then we ended up driving, I guess, 20 minutes out to return the rental car. We were waiting in line for about, I think, another 30 minutes. We got the rental car returned. Then, yeah, we took three shuttle buses, like just to get to the airport. Then TSA comes along, and that was like another like 30 minutes just to get to the right kind of like terminal and also past security. And then there was like kind of like
God.
a rail car that we had to take just to get to the other terminal. And it was like just crazy. And my grandma was also, on a wheelchair. And
Oh
it
my
was
goodness.
insane. By the time that we arrived, it was maybe like 1:30. Um, and everyone had started boarding, but they were like, oh, because your grandmother is in a wheelchair, you should have gotten here maybe like an hour in advance. We have to like hold the flight behind for a couple minutes just so that you guys can board like safely.
Mhm.
So they did that. And then we finally got on board. And 6 hours later, without any food, uh, we made it to Boston. And yeah, and then we had to take, I guess, like a taxi all the way to my dad's workplace, which was in Boston. And that was also a little bit insane because it was freezing cold. And because his car had been left idle for so long, it wasn't able to start.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yeah, and by then, like from 11 a.m. all the way until I think midnight in like Boston, we like had not eaten like food other than a couple of like I don't know, Delta Biscoff crackers. So it was just like
Was okay, so this wasn't Spirit Airlines because
no, this
it
wasn't
sounded like it was
Spirit.
Spirit.
It was
Okay.
Delta.
Okay. Yeah, that's fascinating. Wow, no
Yeah.
food on a 6 hour flight. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
They're really trying to save money.
I guess so. I mean, they did have like little like I guess like prepackaged like like snack boxes with like cheese and
Ah, that doesn't
cookies, but
count.
that does not count. But yeah, so by the time it was midnight, my dad like drove to Quincy, and we ordered like takeout like from like a seafood restaurant that had been open until like 1 in the morning. And the craziest thing that I saw was him literally just shoveling like fried rice into his mouth while driving on the highway off of a paper plate.
I'm surprised you
Because
guys
it was
didn't
just
get any
like
food when you're at Boston.
yeah, so by the time that we arrived at the airport, the flight had also been like delayed by another like hour, like upon arrival, and we just wanted to get the fuck out of the airport. Excuse my language, but also, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, we got home at like midnight, exhausted, but yeah, flights are delayed and it's been crazy. Hopefully, there's less
Well, I felt
delays.
like that happened as efficiently as it possibly could have happened, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you saw the Grand Canyon, or was it the Grand Canyon?
Saw Zion, which is close. It's in
Yeah.
Utah, but it's like the Utah version of the Grand Canyon.
Ah, same thing.
Same thing. Yeah. But yeah,
Oh my God, that's great though.
yeah,
Mm.
kind of crazy, but it did happen.
You
So
survived.
we did
Um,
survive. Yeah.
you know what they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
I guess so. I guess so. I mean, given, how crazy everything has been with the administration as well as I guess like travel. We're just really thankful to be able to get home safely. So, and smoothly. But yeah.
Mhm.
Um
For sure, for sure.
mm, but yeah.
Oh my goodness. I also have a question about the TSA situation. So people are
Sure.
still working, right? They're just necessarily not getting their salary.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
people are still working. The FAA, I think people are still working, but I think that a good proportion of them are, I guess, choosing not to work because at this point in time they're not being paid. And I think
Interesting.
because of that, it's slowing down a lot of, I guess, the processes that would take place effectively at the airport.
So how would that work? So you would just say, "Oh, I'm taking a sick day," or would you just say, "Oh, I'm not
Yeah, from
coming
my
back to work until
understanding, I think a lot of like workers in the FAA are like, calling out sick. And
PTO?"
yeah, so
But not really
not
because,
really, yeah.
oh, interesting. I
I
wonder
think
if
that's
it,
I think that's what's going on. But yeah, a lot of
yeah,
flights were just like delayed. Um, so
so fascinating. I'm
right.
surprised it's not all privatized.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
not entirely. Especially people working in like the towers.
Mm,
Uh yeah,
fascinating.
right. So
Oh, goodness. And the no food on 6 hour flights, that's also crazy.
yeah, not that there
Apparently
was
someone
no
needs to,
food, but no proper like meal. Like
no, yeah, I mean, at least, at least give you some rice and beans,
right.
something.
Yeah.
Something substantive, like
Hmm.
a sandwich,
Yeah.
just like a piece of bread and cheese and like a little cherry tomato.
Right. But
Ugh.
yeah, had we boarded, I think 10 minutes later, or had we like been 10 minutes later, we would not have been able to make the flight, and who knows what would have happened afterwards. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah. And then the next day, I had a job interview. Um,
Oh.
so yeah, that thankfully also worked out as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
Yeah.
was all's well that ended well.
Yes, indeed.
Oh,
Um,
I'm proud of you.
thank you.
Yay, you
Yeah.
survived
I did survive. But yeah,
and thrived.
and thrived, indeed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Hmm. But yeah, the next topic we wanted to move on to. Oh, go ahead. What did you want to say?
Oh, I was gonna say, when do you think the shutdown will end?
Ooh,
Let's place
I'm gonna
bets.
bet another month or two. And it could potentially drag out longer, but I'm gonna say a month and a half. What are your thoughts?
I'll say the new year. I'll say like in January because um I feel like it can't possibly go on after the holidays. I feel like that would be such a struggle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I
Uh,
feel like maybe it could go beyond the holidays because let's like fine, it's the holidays. But
mhm,
maybe to your point, once the holiday travel starts
mhm.
getting going, I
Yeah.
feel like that'll place a lot of pressure on the system and hence the
Yeah,
populace will feel the strain of the anyways,
that definitely is a
but
good
I also
point. I think, especially during
yeah.
the holidays when people are traveling more, that will, I think, cause a lot of pain if the government continues to say shut down. So, yeah, for sure.
Ah,
Um, yeah,
hope that the thing gets resolved, you know.
hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a time. But
This
yeah,
is nervous laughter, by the way. We are not uh we understand the seriousness of the situation. I think we just, there is an absurdity to the circumstances
yeah,
currently.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we could do a political episode. TV, maybe we do that one day where
Maybe
we
we
talk about our
do,
stances and different issues and
for
what
sure.
our thoughts are around possible solution. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that would be an interesting episode to cover. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, the next topic we wanted to move on to was post-grad employment, or at least
Yes.
in, I guess, this particular decade, which is a
Mhm.
very interesting time.
I might be a little bit out of the cultural zeitgeist because I was
Yeah,
not this decade,
for
but
sure, for sure. But yeah, I guess long story short, yeah, people in Gen Z, like especially like new college grads are like having the highest rate of unemployment in history. And it's, putting a lot of strain because companies are, I guess, more or less risk averse given the amount of uncertainty happening right now, and especially around not just AI, but also with, I guess, like tariffs and outsourcing and XYZ. So that's kind of the context of, I guess, like what a lot of people in my generation are struggling with at this point in time. Layoffs and also failing to find, I guess, their first job, like after graduating. And also kind of balancing these existential questions of like, what do I actually want to do? But then it's also like, I need to, find a way to survive. So there's all
Mhm.
of these different questions that come into play, um, especially being, I guess, like a new grad in this economy.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm
Mhm.
curious to know what your kind of like zeitgeist was when you had first graduated, I guess, since you are a generation
The
above
millennial.
the millennial.
Yeah, I mean, when I graduated, it was, I mean, I just remember it being a very competitive time. Everyone wanted to, you know, and I graduated from business school. So, there was a competition for sure, particularly at my school to get into the best, programs in finance, as well as in tech. But I think it was much more finance focused. Back in my day. I mean, I think nowadays there's a lot more people wanting to go into tech.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very competitive. I think I remember the class that was after mine in IB
Mhm.
was like one of the largest classes. It was around that time when a lot of conversations were being had around increasing the number of hires within investment banking teams. And so there was like a surge in terms of the number of people who are being hired in the years right after mine.
Mhm.
There's actually, I think, a bit of a resurgence nowadays because of all the deregulation and
Mhm.
the effects it had on deal making.
Mhm.
Banks are making a lot more deals. And so, but anyways, yeah, I guess there wasn't as much of like an existential threat. I will say though, I also, my, I was a finance and math degree and I think within the math department, a lot of people were also pursuing comp sci degrees with the understanding that they'll absolutely get a job in comp sci out
Mm,
of college. And for a lot of people, that was the case. Although I think things are slowing down a little bit now because of the
yeah.
belief that AI could take over a lot of these software development roles.
Hmm.
Um, that said, though, I think this is just kind of my sentiment, my reading the room at this point in time. I do feel like a lot of the hype around AI has begun to kind of show that, the pace of development is not meeting the kind of expectations in terms of what AI can do.
Hmm.
So I do feel like, um, I think that the the rebalancing of expectations around, what reality versus what people thought it could be, I
Hmm.
think that could potentially lead to better hiring prospects.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
like one thing to think about. But then again, I also think that one potential negative factor is um, if there is an economic downturn
Hmm.
as a result of overinvestment in AI, that could also impact the job market.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, something to be maybe a little bit concerned about.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's always this question of like, or I guess like things that we've not seen, like that is, I guess the word unprecedented gets thrown around a lot nowadays, but I guess specifically in regards to like AI, I just remember in high school, like we were the generation that were told like, oh, like, if you learn how to code, you'll be like set for life. And I guess we're seeing a lot of cracks in that, I guess like promise to our, I guess like education system. But yeah, I guess it's, definitely a wake-up call. It's also very, I guess naive of us to trust that like, oh yeah, like tech will be the end all be all to, I guess like everything. But
Yeah, I mean, I think the skills that are really valued is the ability to learn, right? Like
yeah.
you want to be able to learn how to adapt versus, hyper focusing on a particular thing and kind of putting all your eggs in one basket.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, that is tricky.
Yeah.
I will say, speaking from personal experience, I pivoted quite a lot in my career, and I think that is something that we all have to be comfortable with. I
Hmm.
think, maybe early on in my career,
Hmm.
I felt like I just felt like I really needed to do this one particular thing and focus on like have very deep expertise in kind of one field. But I realized over time that it's just not maybe the right approach. I
Hmm.
think, especially when you're young and you have the opportunity to switch, and the job market actually rewards people for switching, or switching careers or, moving around a little bit. A
Yeah.
lot of HR departments have, more funding in the outside hire kind of side of things versus the internal promotion and internal mobility kind of thing, kind of fund.
Hmm.
So it makes sense to, kind of be more nimble and explore different areas. Because I think even in your 20s, you still don't quite know, what is a good fit for you and what's out there. So I think having the benefit of being able to see and work in different environments and with different people, even if it is within the same field, I think that could also, just as well benefit you.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I guess thank you for your, I guess, perspective as well as your words of advice. So yeah. Um, yeah, what a
for
tumultuous
sure.
time. I think I've known a lot of friends who have been struggling, I guess, to find new jobs and have been struggling to hold jobs because of, I guess, like um, companies not having enough budget to cover, I guess, their expenses as well as like to pay them, which is, I guess, something that I
Mhm.
have recently, it's been, I guess, like aware of, so to speak. But yeah,
Interesting. I'm
yeah.
curious, are the friends that are experiencing these challenges, are they in like larger companies or smaller startup companies?
Some smaller, some larger, but it's like a mixed bag of like a bunch of
Mhm.
people in different fields, and they're having various different challenges
I
during
see.
this time. So yeah, it's very
I see. I
volatile,
see.
tumultuous, but I think the hope is that, well, this there is post-traumatic growth.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah,
For sure.
after our struggles. So yeah. Um,
Yeah, I wish there was also more of an economy, like more training or preparation to teach people how to navigate self-employment. Kind of like
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, like because Fiverr is not a I'm like I've went to Fiverr. It's not a great
Hmm.
um it's not a very easily to navigate kind of site. And I know there's people out there, there's companies out there that, could benefit with temporary pay, but I think the process of finding the right talent, connecting the right people to the right people is just there's a lot of friction in that process. And I'm yeah, like there's
Yeah,
not a very easy, fluid system right now to encourage that kind of employment. And I think a lot of people want that.
yeah.
I was reading this or well, listening to this podcast. There's this professor at NYU Stern who came out with this new like personality quiz kind of thing.
Mm,
And she was saying how, a lot of people there's a sort of generational shift in values. And I don't know, maybe it's her perspective as well, but she's saying how people of her generation, like the boomers, the lost generation, etc., their values were more about like ambition and family and work. And then nowadays, um, like Gen Z have their sort of values are more about
meaningful
um
work.
I need to find the right term, but it's it's about enjoying the pleasures of life effectively.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah. So there's this. And there could be, it could be, uh, you could have conflicting values. You could want to be able to enjoy the pleasures of life, but also wanting ambition and, wealth and, like there could be, there's more conflicting values, I think, these days that people have.
Hmm.
And I think one potential solution to kind of getting the best of both worlds is creating opportunities for work that, is not the traditional 9 to 5. I mean, traditional work nowadays is not 9 to 5 anyways, it's 9 to 7.
Yeah.
There's more pressure, but I think if the work economy could be a little bit more fluid and um, there's opportunities for people to work in the ways that they want to work, then I think, that presents a lot of value to society and to people with different values when it comes to, their relationship with work
Hmm.
um, and work-life balance.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. I think there's a lot of, I guess, yeah, there's a huge shift, I think, as you said, like in the different values that people have toward work. And I think there is a lot of opportunity for work to evolve, for, I guess, more self-employment and, yeah, I guess like independent work-oriented lifestyles. So, yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do think that a certain level of financial stability is necessary in order to be able to take, or to, for one to feel comfortable enough to take the risk to become self-employed. And
Mm,
oftentimes, I think like the advice that I hear a lot is, like, yeah, work on a side hustle while you have a full-time job until you are confident enough to bet on it to become your full self-employment gig,
mhm,
so to speak. And obviously, it's very sound advice, but I think it doesn't necessarily capture like, I guess, everyone's individual situation. And I think that having more resources for people who want to be self-employed from the get-go, I think could be incredibly helpful as well. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, even to be able to quickly, sign up for contract work,
yeah.
just to have, like one sliver of a work stream that you kind of own on a part-time basis for a company being paid, however many hours, and maybe having work set up in a way where it's more like your impact is more measurable.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, that could be more beneficial. I think the
Yeah.
challenge these days for a lot of, companies is to figure out like what is the value that
Mhm.
their employees bring, and how do you measure that impact? Like I think in a lot of fields in finance and in consulting, in services, it's hard to quantify that value.
Mhm.
But I think it's important to try to do that so that it once it is more measurable, you can kind of create more efficient, work systems.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that I think about, and I wonder if it
Mhm.
could benefit the world.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so curious. And also, it's a scary time, but it's also a really exciting time to see how the future of work will evolve. So, yeah,
Yes.
yes. Um,
What are your thoughts about this battle between employees who maybe want more location freedom or work flexibility versus employers who want to bring kind of folks back into the office. I don't know if you read that was it Wall Street Journal article about Jamie Dimon's new building in Midtown Manhattan and his ode to work.
Ooh, I've not read the article, but I have definitely heard a lot of discussion about in person or like remote and like the kind of tug of war between, I guess, employee and employer. My general thoughts about that are I think it really depends on the industry and the nature of the work that you're doing. For example, if for example, like in the architecture or like design industry, it's definitely very beneficial to be able to be in person so that you can
Mhm.
kind of like inherit a lot of the language, the mannerisms, and the habits, as well as like the workflows in person. I think it's really helpful to be able to do that. Um, whereas I feel like, especially for software or other, I guess, like jobs that can just as effectively be communicated remotely, I think it's totally
Mhm.
fine for, I guess, those types to stay remote. Of course, like having in-person interaction is definitely better for your mental health, but it also depends on what is your relationship with, I guess, the employer. So I think I hate to use the answer
Yeah.
like it depends, but I do think that there is such huge variation between the nature of the work that you are doing and the kind of like learning style that would suit that work the best. Um,
Mhm.
so that's kind of my take. I think there's no one size fits all. I hate it when I guess it's framed as like black and white, which is kind of the way that it is. And I think it
Mhm.
is super, it's done that
Mhm.
way, I think, especially to generate like a very sensationalist narrative as well as like garner attention. But I don't think it's black and white. I think that you can have hybrid
Mhm.
and a mix of both, and it depends on the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. That's valid.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole perspective with Jamie Dimon's article was that, he wants every single employee at JP Morgan to be back in the office 5 days a week. And,
Mhm.
I don't think it really need applied to every single employee, and every single team.
Mhm.
And I think having flexibility really is, beneficial for everyone.
Mhm.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. For sure. But anyway, I think, yeah, to wrap up this podcast episode, thank you all for listening. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe.
thank you. And tell us your thoughts
Yeah.
in the comments.
Yep. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.